Let me ask you something. What if this video found you at the exact moment you were about to fall asleep again? Not literally, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally. What if everything you've been chasing, hoping for, doubting, led you right here to these words? Because this video is not just another piece of content. It's not a distraction. It's not a dopamine hit. This is the interruption. This is the wake-up call. And here's the truth you've been avoiding. If you don't rewire your mind, someone else will keep doing it for you. The world is shaping you every single day. The news, the noise, the scrolling, the fear, the opinions of people who never built anything, all of it is programming you quietly, repeatedly, without your permission. Most men are not living their lives. They are replaying their past. They are stuck in loops, mental habits they never chose, thoughts they never questioned, limits they inherited from people who gave up on their own dreams. But not you, not anymore, because you're here, and something in you is done living small, done shrinking, done reacting, done drifting. This is not a motivational speech. This is activation, and I need you to listen all the way through. Because by the time this video ends, if you apply what's given to you, you won't just feel different, you'll become different. This isn't something you watch once. This is the beginning of your transformation. This is the time you snap out of drift. This is the moment you choose direction. And let me make something clear. This is not about hustle, noise, or hype. This is about power, quiet power, earned power, the kind of power that comes from discipline, clarity, and thought trained like a machine. You see, the most dangerous man is not the loudest. It's the one who commands himself, who has conquered the battlefield within. And that battle begins with thought. Everything you are right now is the result of thought. Every fear, every limit, every excuse, and everything you could be is also born of thought. But the question is, who's doing the thinking? You, or the version of you the world installed? You don't need more time, you need more direction. And that begins with the control of thought, what enters, what repeats, what you allow to take root. This is the starting point of all power. This is where real wealth begins, where real freedom begins, where real success begins. You do not drift into greatness. You decide into it, you install it. And that's exactly what you're about to learn. In this video, I will hand you the mental tools to burn your fears, command your habits, speak to your mind with precision, and walk like a man with dominion over his life. But only if you watch it all. This is not a clip to play once and scroll away. This is your daily ritual, your mental armor. So listen now and return tomorrow. The mind will not rewire itself, but it will follow the orders of the one who finally takes command. Now sit up, be still, focus, because everything changes from here. You've been told you're in control, that your decisions are your own. But the truth is, most men are not the architects of their lives. They are puppets of their programming, influenced by the world, shaped by fear, guided by emotion, and steered by habit. They're not deciding, they're reacting. Your environment has been scripting your behavior since childhood. Every word of doubt, every limitation spoken over you, every failure you internalized, it all got stored. And now, it fires without your permission. It dictates what you think you can do, what you try, how far you go, and how soon you give up. You think your fears are rational. You think your limits are real, but they were planted, conditioned, installed like software. And if you never question them, if you never interrupt them, you will live in someone else's version of your life. But here's the shift. Once you see the program, you can reprogram it. The subconscious mind runs the show, and it does not respond to logic. It responds to repetition, to emotion, to dominance. That means if you've been rehearsing weakness, fear, or hesitation every day, you've been practicing defeat. But the second you flip the pattern, the second you install new commands, new rituals, new standards, the machine starts working for you, not against you. You wake up and install new thoughts. I am focused, I am capable, I am building, and then you back them with behavior, with execution. That's how power is built, from the inside out. Charles Schwab wasn't born with power. He earned it through presence, through repetition. He studied himself the way others studied books. Why? Because self-awareness is the beginning of self-command. And he rose not because he shouted, but because he embodied clarity. And clarity commands. Your habits are the compass of your future, not your talent, not your feelings, your habits. And they're formed in silence, in private, through what you repeat when no one is watching. This is why your inputs matter. What you listen to, who you listen to, what you say to yourself in the mirror. You think your self-talk is harmless, but it's the loudest voice in your life. If that voice is filled with fear, hesitation, confusion, your reality will reflect it. It's time to take it back. You are not here to be a puppet. You are here to be a builder, a man who speaks with authority to his own mind, who creates rituals that reinforce power, who protects his focus like it's sacred, because it is. From this point on, every day must be an installation. You wake up and build yourself before the world gets a chance to break you. That is how Ford built empires. That is how Carnegie built wealth, not by chance, not by hype, but by clarity of thought, discipline of speech, and consistency of action. And that is what you must do now. This is your turning point. You wake up every day with a choice, but most people never make it. They drift. They float through life on the winds of circumstance. No plan, no direction, no fire, just reaction. They let the world tell them what to care about, what to chase, what to become. And that's the tragedy. Not failure, not rejection, but drift. Drifting through a lifetime with power unclaimed, with potential unused, with purpose buried under passivity. Drift is the enemy of destiny. It doesn't look dangerous. That's why it's so deadly. Drift feels like comfort, like ease, like going with the flow. But the truth is, nothing great was ever built by accident. No man becomes powerful by following convenience. The life you want will never come from indecision. It begins with a line drawn in the sand, because until you decide, truly decide, nothing changes. You think you need more time, more resources, more clarity. You don't. You need decision. You need to stand up and declare what this life will mean. That is the moment where transformation begins, the point where you stop moving with the world and start moving the world. Listen closely. Indecision is a habit, and so is decisiveness. Every time you hesitate, you reinforce weakness. Every time you delay, you train your subconscious to question your power. But when you decide instantly with finality, you rewire your identity. You become the man who moves, the man who acts, the man who leads. Decision is magnetic. The universe, people, circumstances, they respond to the man who has made up his mind. Because decision is energy. It is focus, condensed into motion. You don't beg for momentum. You generate it by making decisions faster than fear can speak. Charles Schwab didn't rise to lead Carnegie Steel because he had the highest IQ. He rose because he could make decisions with clarity, with confidence, and more importantly, he stuck with them. While others debated and delayed, he executed. That's what leaders do. That's what builders do. So ask yourself now, have you decided, have you chosen your chief aim, your standard, your future? Or are you still living like a leaf in the wind, reacting, drifting, hoping? Stop drifting. Decide. Say it out loud. This is the man I'm becoming. This is the standard I live by. This is the future I'm building. Write it down. Speak it daily. Anchor it deep. Because the man who is uncertain folds under pressure, but the man who decides, he cannot be stopped. You don't attract power by chance, you install it. Power is not a title, it's not status, it's not something you earn from others. Power is something you create from within, and it begins the moment you decide to take control of your identity. Your identity is your foundation. Everything you do, your habits, your reactions, your level of intensity, it all flows from the image you hold of yourself. And most men, they're still living through an image built by their past, by their failures, by their fears. That's why they sabotage progress. That's why they start and stop. That's why nothing sticks. Because they're still operating with an identity built for survival and not success. But you are here to build something different. And if that's true, then your identity must be upgraded on purpose. Look at every man who changed the course of history. They weren't born different. They weren't lucky. They built themselves, thought by thought, belief by belief, command by command. Henry Ford was not a genius inventor. He was a man with a crystal clear belief system. He repeated to himself and to the world, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That wasn't just clever philosophy. That was identity programming, and it made him unstoppable. Thomas Edison didn't try to invent the light bulb. He saw it long before the world did. He visualized the results so clearly, so often, that his mind couldn't accept failure, only feedback. 10,000 failed attempts meant nothing because the identity behind them didn't waver. He was the man who would create the light. That's how you have to move now. You are not just setting goals. You are setting identity anchors. You are not trying to be disciplined. You are disciplined. You are not hoping to build something great. You are the builder. Start speaking to yourself the way the most powerful men in history spoke to themselves. Not with doubt, not with apology, but with certainty. Say it now. I am decisive. I am dangerous when focused. I finish what I start. I lead my mind, my day, and my destiny. This is not fake confidence. This is engineering. The subconscious mind doesn't argue. It obeys. And when you feed it identity statements with enough emotion and repetition, it begins to accept them as truth. You literally become what you repeat. That's not theory. That's the principle behind every success story that has ever lasted. Andrew Carnegie didn't just build wealth. He built men. Men who lived with definiteness of purpose. He refused to work with drifters. He hired men who knew who they were, who spoke with clarity, who moved with conviction. And when their confidence wavered, he made them study their own minds like blueprints. Because when you study your thoughts, when you reinforce your beliefs, when you repeat the standard daily, you don't just rise, you become a weapon. Now listen to me. There are no more casual affirmations, no more whispering goals like you're asking for permission. From this day forward, you speak like a builder. You speak like a man who knows what he's becoming. Say it again. I am focused. I am disciplined. I am not average. I do not drift. I move with purpose, and I finish what I start. That is how power is installed. Not in a single moment, but in a daily ritual of reinforcement. You will not become this man by accident. You will become him by repetition with fire. Repeat this script every morning. Speak it until your bones believe it, because the man you admire, the one you're building, is built with words like these, spoken with certainty, and lived with fire. And soon, the world won't just hear what you believe. They'll feel it. There is a moment in every man's life when he must stop asking and start deciding. That moment is now. Decision is the doorway to power. Nothing happens until you decide. No result is created, no transformation begins, no identity sticks without the force of decision behind it. Most people never rise because they never decide to. They flirt with commitment. They try. They dabble. But they never burn the bridge. They never lock the door behind them. They never tell themselves, this is who I am now, and there's no going back. But the successful, they live by a different code. Charles M. Schwab wasn't the most intelligent man in the steel industry, but he was the most decisive. That's why Andrew Carnegie trusted him to run his empire. Schwab could make bold moves when others hesitated. He didn't let fear delay the mission. He decided fast and adjusted only when absolutely necessary. And that's the principle I want you to install right now. I decide quickly, and I change slowly, only when the facts demand it. Because here's the truth. The longer you hesitate, the weaker you become. The longer you analyze, the more you drift. The longer you avoid making the call, the more power you hand over to fear. There's no such thing as a safe maybe. Every maybe is a slow death to your mission. Should I commit to this identity? Yes, decide. Should I speak the affirmations even when I don't feel it? Yes, decide. Should I show up even when no one's watching? Yes, decide. Because indecision is not neutral. It is a decision to stay weak, to stay uncertain, to live by someone else's rules. And you are not here for that. You are here to build, to command, to walk like a man with definiteness of purpose. That phrase, a definiteness of purpose, is not just a motto. It is a way of life. It means your actions are rooted in one outcome, not 10, not maybe. 1. Edison decided to create the light bulb, not try, not see what happens. He decided. And he backed that decision with 10,000 experiments, 10,000 failures. But the decision never wavered. And because it didn't, the world changed. When you move with true decision, the world feels it. Circumstances rearrange. People take notice. Doubt retreats. Why? Because power respects clarity. Now I want you to say it. I am decisive. I know what I want, and I move toward it without delay. I choose action over hesitation, execution over excuses. And now, I want you to make one decision today. Just one. Not tomorrow, not when you feel better. Right now. Maybe it's the decision to cut a habit that's killing your energy. Maybe it's the decision to speak your affirmations with full belief. Today, not someday. Maybe it's finally acting on the idea you've been postponing. Whatever it is, decide. Because every time you act boldly, you are wiring your subconscious to believe, I am a man who follows through. And the more you follow through, the less power fear has over you. Remember this, hesitation kills dreams faster than failure ever could. So decide today and back that decision with movement. You are not here to float, you are here to command. And it all begins with one decision, made with fire, followed with discipline, and reinforced through action. There is a force robbing men of their strength every single day. And it's not poverty, pain, or failure. It's noise. Constant, endless noise. The moment you open your eyes, the world floods you with it. Notifications, opinions, news cycles, the pressure to explain, to share, to prove. And without even realizing it, your mind, once full of intention, might become scattered. Your focus is hijacked, your mission diluted, and worst of all, your power silenced. But here's the truth. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is ammunition. It's in the silence that vision becomes clear. It's in the stillness that identity locks in. And it's when you stop performing for the world that you finally start performing for yourself. Every great man I've ever known, every builder, leader, titan of industry, moved this way. Quiet, strategic, focused. They didn't beg for applause. They didn't explain their process. They simply executed. And when it was done, then the world noticed. Andrew Carnegie didn't post updates. He trained in solitude. He demanded focus not just from himself, but from every man in his company. Meetings were short, intentions were clear, and distractions were not tolerated. Why? Because Carnegie knew results are built in quiet, not in noise. If you truly want to step into power, you must reclaim your mind from the world. Start with your mornings. Make the first 30 minutes sacred. No phone, no scrolling, just clarity. Rehearsal. Command. You speak your identity into the mirror, into the room, into your being, not because someone is watching, but because you are watching. And that moment, that quiet fire, is what sets the tone for your entire day. You must understand, privacy is power. The less the world knows, the more you control. Because every time you share your goals too early, every time you explain your path to people who won't understand it, you're leaking power. You're inviting doubt. You're giving your dream to spectators who were never meant to be on the field. Stop asking for permission. Stop updating strangers. Stop letting the algorithm dictate your energy. Let them wonder where you went. Let them assume you quit. Let them scroll past your silence. And while they guess, you build. This is not arrogance, it's discipline. It's the understanding that the seed grows best underground, unseen, protected, nourished in silence until its roots are strong enough to rise. When you go silent, you take full control of your energy. You stop reacting. You start creating. And suddenly, the world feels different. Your mind feels sharper. You move with less hesitation. Why? Because there's no audience. There's no one to perform for. There's just you and the work. That's when you become dangerous. That's when momentum begins to build, quietly, relentlessly, like a storm no one sees coming. So I ask you now, what noise needs to go? Who have you been explaining yourself to that doesn't deserve an explanation? What mental energy are you spending performing when you should be producing? Cut it off, not tomorrow. Now, if it doesn't feed your focus, it's stealing it. Silence is a filter. It removes the irrelevant. It tunes out the world's frequency so you can finally hear your own. And once that signal becomes strong, once your voice becomes louder in your own mind than the voices outside, that's when you win. Not loudly, not explosively, but undeniably. And when you walk into the world with results, forged in silence, strengthened in solitude, you won't need to say a word. They'll feel it. Your dream doesn't care about your excuses. It only answers to one thing: consistency. You can speak with fire, visualize with precision, even believe with full conviction. But if your habits are out of alignment, none of it will land, because the subconscious doesn't listen to talk. It listens to repetition. It listens to ritual. Your habits are either reinforcing your vision or sabotaging it. There is no in-between. You say you want success, but what does your morning look like? You claim to want discipline, but what do your evenings say? You desire mastery, but is your calendar structured like a man who honors that desire? This is where most men break. Not because their dream is impossible, not because they're not capable, but because their rhythms are sloppy. Their lifestyle is misaligned. Their habits betray their ambition. And here's the law. You will always default to the level of your systems. If your system is distraction, you will be distracted. If your system is chaos, you will live in reaction. But if your system is clarity, you will create with direction. If your system is focused repetition, you will become exactly what you repeat. The truth is, success is not an act of intensity. It's the result of systematic obsession. The way you move when no one's watching. The way you speak to yourself when there's no crowd to applaud. The way you guard your environment like your life depends on it, because it does. And once those patterns lock in, once your subconscious adopts the rhythm, that's when the law of cosmic habit force takes over. Your actions begin to carry you. Momentum begins to build for you. The force of repetition kicks in like gravity, and suddenly, what used to be hard becomes normal. What once felt like effort becomes identity. Think of men like Edison. He didn't hope to succeed. He created a system so consistent, so exacting, that invention became inevitable. He had fixed hours, structured experiments, focused intent, and when others burned out, he kept rising. Not by force of will, but by force of habit. Henry Ford did the same. His vision wasn't just revolutionary. It was repeated daily, systematically, until it reshaped an entire industry. The assembly line wasn't just for cars. It was for discipline, for efficiency, for results that could be scaled without emotion. So ask yourself, what is your system? What are you installing into your life? Not just once, but daily. Mind, body, mission, these are your loops, and they must be guarded with non-negotiable standards. That means you feed your mind with clarity, repetition, and power. You train your body not for aesthetics, but for discipline and durability. You move on your mission every day, no matter how you feel, because purpose doesn't wait for comfort. This isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. And if you say you want it, but your habits don't reflect it, you don't want it enough. If your rituals are sloppy, your outcomes will be too. If your rhythms are chaotic, your life will follow suit. And if you allow your subconscious to drift, to be programmed by default, then someone else will shape your destiny for you. Not by force, but by distraction. So here is the command: audit your habits, rewrite your days, eliminate what doesn't build you, reinforce what sharpens you, and install rhythms that lock your identity into place, not once, but every single day. Because if your habits don't match your vision is fiction. Align or abandon. There is no middle path. You can have the strongest rituals, the most dialed-in system, and the clearest vision. But if your environment is contaminated, you will still lose. Because success is not just about what you do, it's also about what you allow. And one of the greatest influences on your subconscious mind is the people you let near it. Understand this. Every conversation is a seed. Every joke laced with self-doubt, every complaint masked as a vent, every sarcastic jab at ambition, it plants something your subconscious hears, something it absorbs. And unless you filter those inputs, you'll find yourself carrying beliefs that were never yours to begin with. You start to think smaller. You start to hesitate. You start to justify mediocrity, not because you lost the fire, but because you let the wrong voices water it down. Look at anyone who's built something exceptional. Andrew Carnegie didn't surround himself with excuse makers. He surrounded himself with thinkers, builders, strategists, men who understood the weight of vision and carried it like a shield. Henry Ford didn't build an empire while explaining his dreams to doubters. He moved in the company of those who already believed, because belief is contagious. But so is fear, so is small thinking. So is mockery masked as humor. You must become ruthless about who gets access to your energy. Not everyone gets to sit in your war room. Not everyone gets to speak into your subconscious. Not everyone gets a front row seat to your mission, especially if they've done nothing to earn that view. Because here's the truth. Energy is currency, and most people spend it like they'll never run out. You can't afford to do that. Not if you're serious. Not if you're building something sacred. Not if you're trying to reprogram a mind that spent years being conditioned by noise, failure, and survival mode beliefs. Your circle must be curated with the same intensity as your habits. Ask yourself, do they sharpen my focus or blur it? Do they reinforce my identity or poke holes in it? Do they believe in evolution or are they addicted to the past? Because the company you keep isn't neutral. It's nudging you toward greatness or back into mediocrity. Now, this doesn't mean you cut off every person in your life, but it does mean you categorize access, just like you wouldn't give a stranger the keys to your house. Don't give small minds the keys to your mental space. You protect it, you gate it, you filter it with intention, set boundaries, elevate standards. And remember, some people belong in your story, but not in your strategy, and others, they don't belong in either. So here's your task. Audit your circle. Ask hard questions. And if someone consistently brings distraction, drama, or doubt, distance yourself. Not out of ego, but out of alignment. You are not here to babysit the comfort of others. You are here to build, to lead, to become something the old you would barely recognize. And that requires solitude, clarity, and precision influence. Your mind is sacred ground. And every voice you allow in, every influence you tolerate, is either reinforcing your vision or corrupting it. So treat your mind like it matters. Because it does. There's a part of the journey no one talks about. Not the start, when everything feels fresh. Not the finish, when the transformation is obvious. But the middle. The silence, the stretch where you've done the work for days, for weeks, maybe even months, and nothing seems to be changing. No one is watching, no one is cheering. And doubt begins to whisper again. That's the dark phase. And if you don't understand it, it will break you. But if you do, if you recognize it for what it truly is, it will become the most powerful part of your evolution. You see, progress doesn't always come with fireworks. Often, it arrives in whispers, in the slight shift of thought, the micro habit you now do without thinking, the new standard that feels normal. Transformation doesn't announce itself. It simmers before it boils. And in that simmer, you'll be tested. You'll wonder if it's working. You'll look in the mirror and see someone who's doing the work, but not yet living the reward. This is where most men quit. They stop not because it's hard, but because it's quiet, because the applause didn't come, because the energy dipped, because the world didn't notice. But hear this, the world isn't supposed to notice yet, and that's the point. This part of the process isn't meant for visibility. It's meant for solidifying. It's where you build what I call quiet muscle, the repetition of right action with no external reward. And every time you show up anyway, you become someone no one can break. Charles Schwab didn't rise to the top because of hype. He did it through consistent presence, through calm, through the ability to move forward whether the market cheered or crashed. Edison didn't invent the light bulb in a flash of genius. He became the kind of man who could outlast darkness, literally and metaphorically. Thousands of failed attempts, no audience, no fanfare, just belief, repetition, and the refusal to let silence convince him he was done. The same is true for you. The dark phase is not a punishment, it's a test. And if you pass it, if you keep momentum without noise, without feedback, without signs, you become unshakable. Let me give you a frame to hold in your mind every day you feel that darkness. Your results are catching up, not absent, just on delay. Like a seed planted in deep soil, nothing seems to be happening on the surface. But beneath it, the roots are multiplying. The system is strengthening. And when it breaks through, it's unstoppable. That's you. So here's the protocol when you're in that phase. Track the reps. Not how you feel, what you did. If you did the work, you're winning. Period. Speak your identity, especially when doubt creeps in. Say it aloud. I am becoming undeniable. Say it until your subconscious believes it. Cut the noise. Comparisons, scrolling, distractions, they scream at you when silence grows. Stay on your script. Stay in your system. Celebrate integrity, not results. Anyone can do it when it's easy. Few can do it when it's dark. That's what separates you. You are not falling behind. You are forging ahead in silence with strength. You don't need a round of applause. You need a reason to keep swinging. And if you've made it this far, you've already got one. You're not building this life for the crowd. You're building it for the man you know you're becoming. And that man, he doesn't fold. He doesn't beg for reassurance, and he doesn't wait for signs. He decides, he moves, he endures the silence because he knows what's coming on the other side of it, so keep going. Quietly, powerfully, undeniably, you've made it this far. You've listened, you've absorbed, you've felt the shift beginning. But hear this, none of this will last unless you repeat it. Because transformation is not a one-time event. It's not the result of a powerful moment or a single decision or a flash of motivation. Real transformation is the result of one thing: autosuggestion. Let me make it clear. Your subconscious mind is always listening. It listens when you speak with certainty and when you mumble in doubt. It listens when you say, I can, and when you whisper, I don't know how. And what it hears most, it becomes law. Not because it's true, but because it's repeated. This is why one video, no matter how powerful, is not enough. You must hear this message daily. Not just hear it, install it. Not just play it, declare it. Because repetition is what creates rhythm, and rhythm is what creates identity. You do not become the man you want to be by watching something once. You become him by rehearsing his mindset until it becomes yours. That's autosuggestion. It is not some magical trick. It is a process, a system, a tool used by every great builder, creator, and achiever throughout history, whether they knew it by name or not. Henry Ford repeated belief into his mind until the entire world bent to his vision. Edison didn't just see the light bulb in his mind once. He installed it thousands of times until it existed first in belief, then in fact. Carnegie instructed his men to speak their aims aloud every morning and every night, to engrave their mission into the subconscious so deeply there was no room for doubt. Why? Because they understood what most men never will. Your results are downstream of your rituals, and your rituals are born from repetition. That's why you must return to this video, not once, not twice, but until it's yours. Until the voice you hear becomes the voice you speak. Until these declarations stop sounding like suggestions and start sounding like commands from your own soul. If you only listen once, you'll forget. If you listen a few times, you'll remember. But if you listen every day, you'll become. This is not entertainment. It's installation. It's engineering. It's how you overwrite the script that's been holding you back for years. Think of your mind like a piece of software. You don't just delete an old program by wishing it away. You overwrite it, line by line, thought by thought, word by word. You install dominant thought through repetition with emotion. So here's your instruction. Make this a ritual. Wake up, play this, speak it aloud, feel every word, visualize the man you are becoming. Attach emotion and attach belief, attach urgency, and then go live it. This isn't something you do until it's convenient to stop. This is something you do until the transformation completes. And then you keep doing it to maintain the standard. Because identity doesn't just rise once. It rises every day. Let me give you a phrase. Write it down. Speak it often. I rehearse who I am becoming until my subconscious forgets who I used to be. That's the power of autosuggestion. That's why this message must be replayed. You are training a new voice, a new rhythm, a new script that drowns out fear, that silences hesitation, that leads you forward like a soldier walking into purpose. So play this video again tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. Not just to remember, but to become. You will not drift anymore. You will not forget who you are. Because the moment your new identity is stronger than your old story, everything changes. Say it now. I install belief. I repeat power. I am who I choose to become. Let the world keep searching for shortcuts. Let them chase dopamine and forget discipline. You've found the system. You've found the voice. Now it's time to make it yours every single day. You've made it to the end. But this is not the end. This is the real beginning. The moment the transformation stops being a thought and becomes a command, because by now, something inside you has shifted. You feel it. You've felt it growing with every sentence, every repetition, every moment you chose to stay present when the old you would have tuned out. That's not hype. That's evidence. Evidence that the old self, the drifting self, the distracted self, the doubtful self, is losing its grip. And what's taking its place is power. But now comes the test. Because the world you walk back into after this video, it will not change just because you did. The noise will return, the doubts will come back, the old patterns will whisper for attention. And this is where most men fall. Not because they didn't feel the fire, but because they didn't protect it. Because they let it fade when the video ended. Because they treated power like a moment, not a responsibility. That won't be you, because from this moment forward, you are no longer a passive participant in your own life. You are the builder, and builders build daily. Let me say this plainly. You are no longer allowed to forget who you are. You are no longer permitted to drift into average. You are no longer a man who just listens. You are a man who lives it. From this point forward, you rehearse greatness. Not when it's easy, not when it's convenient, but until it's complete. You rehearse discipline, you rehearse power, you rehearse your new identity until it becomes louder than the world around you and the world within you. Because let me remind you of the truth. You are not here to fit in. You are not here to chase likes or be understood or perform for an audience that wouldn't recognize excellence if it stared them in the face. You are here for one reason, to become undeniable. That begins now, not when it's perfect, not when you feel ready. Now, your new standard, clarity over chaos, discipline over dopamine, action over explanation, focus over approval, repetition over reaction. Every time you choose the harder path, you win. Every time you override emotion with execution, you rewire. Every time you speak as the man you're becoming, You lock it in. So start living like that man right now. Walk like him, speak like him, decide like him, show up like him before the world even believes you are him. Because belief follows evidence, and today, you give it the evidence. And if the world doesn't believe in you yet, good. Let them sleep. Let them doubt. Let them misjudge you. Because silence is not failure. It's foundation. The seed does not scream when it's growing, and neither should you. Your silence is strategy. Your stillness is strength. Your solitude is sharpening you into something the world won't be able to ignore. So when the voice in your head says, you can skip today, you answer, I don't skip, I don't fold, I finish what I start. When the feeling says, you're not ready, you answer, I decide who I am and I am ready. When the world says, you're not that guy, you answer, watch me. Because the man you're becoming, the one who finishes what he starts, who builds in silence, who rewires his mind like a machine, he doesn't argue. He executes. You are no longer the man who needs the world to believe. You are the man who believes in himself on repeat. You want to change your life? Repeat that sentence every morning. I believe in myself on repeat. Say it while you walk. Say it while you train. Say it while you build. Say it until the old voice dies from starvation. This is the new rhythm. And it starts with your rituals. Wake up. Don't scroll. Don't drift. Don't seek noise. You put in your mental armor. You install your blueprint. You rehearse who you are before the world gets the chance to label you. Speak it aloud. I don't drift. I don't delay. I don't wait for the perfect time. I create it. I train my mind. I train my habits. I train my future. And I don't explain that to people who haven't earned the right to hear it. That's your standard now. And if you fall off, you don't spiral. You reset. You don't beat yourself down. You build yourself back. You don't wait for motivation. You use repetition to find it. Because the man you're becoming doesn't rise from hype. He rises from habit. He rises from hard days followed by harder commitment. He rises from training in the dark, while others watch each other fail in the light. So, if you've ever wondered what separates the few who rise from the masses who repeat their failures, it's this. They kept coming back to the message that made them dangerous, and they didn't just listen to it, they lived it. That's your challenge now. You don't need to find more voices. You need to master the one that's already working. So hit replay, hit it every morning until the rhythm becomes identity, until the belief becomes biology, until the man you used to be no longer fits in the room with the man you've become. This is your blueprint. This is your command. This is your edge in a world addicted to weakness. And if you're still listening, you already know. You were never meant to be average. You were meant to become undeniable. So let me leave you with this final command. Don't just watch this video. Install it, live it, speak it, repeat it, and become it. Because when you do, your voice will change, your posture will shift, your energy will lead, and the world, it will finally see what you've known all along, and you're not like the rest. You were built for more, and now you've remembered.